Nature has a food chain, with us humans on top. We are the peak predators because we can use weapons and have intelligence, which is not something other animals possess. But the Yaocha can make us feel as helpless as a prey. With their high-tech weapons and their skills, they can easily take us out in a blink of an eye. But what would the Yaocha do when they face off against animals? How would the Yaocha hold the ground while facing pure animalistic rage? Well, let's find out together. In this video, we explore every instance where the Yaocha and the animal kingdom have faced off. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, let's begin. The savage clash of feral predator and a wolf. Predators have been coming to this earth for a while, but their run-ins were mostly with humans. This is why we see the predator analysis of wolf hunting a bunny in the movie Prey. The predator watches the animal for a while before interacting with it. The animal is surprised by the invisible opponent, but the wolf doesn't back down. Being small comes with agility and nimble feet, which the wolf uses to injure the leg of the predator. But the fight ends just as quickly because the Yaocha uses his wrist blades to slice open the gut of the pup, but the pup ends up his trophy collection. So clearly the wolf proved a point in his short-lived life. So, we have to say, the wild pupper fought well. An epic showdown of predator where he loses his hand. Well, Earth has a lot of biodiversity. This biodiversity has its good side and its bad side. Sadly for this Yaocha, he only got to experience the bad side of it. In Predator, the Pride at Nagasa, we followed the adventures of this one Yaocha who was chasing this English colonist. While chasing him, the Englishman led the predator into the water. In his head, his odds were better in the crocodile-infested water than on land. He wasn't wrong, but we soon see the predator being ambushed by not one, but two crocodiles. If you've been a fan of the late Steve Irwin, you'll know about the famous death roll move of the crocodiles. Like wrestling stars, crocodiles have a finishing move. Using their body weight, they get their prey to fall down, and by locking their jaw on the prey, the crocodile takes them for a swim, where they roll around in the water with the prey, drowning the poor creature. The crocodiles were planning on doing that to the predator, but because of his stature, the crocodiles couldn't get the advantage of height. However, that doesn't mean the crocs did not damage him, because by the time the predator came out, he was missing his left arm and he was quite injured. The predator was still chasing the Englishman, but Mother Nature had different plans. This time, a bunch of hyenas attacked the predator. While his blood may have smelled different, it was blood at the end of the day, and hyenas wanted that. Although this predator won the battle against the hyenas, the biodiversity ticked him off enough to travel to his ship and simply leave Earth. So, Mother Nature won, Yaocha 0. Beneath the depths, predators clash with the monstrous giant squid. The ocean has always been a place for mystery, not just for us, but also for predators. In Predator, Hell in Hot Water, we follow the story of a young team of soldiers who were sent to investigate the sighting of a ghost ship on the coast of Chile. While they dove deep into the water, they came across the dead bodies of not one, but two Humboldt squids. Humboldt squids are gargantuan in size, and understandably, killing them is not a feat achievable by any human. They realized that whatever was down there was not someone they wanted to mess with. However, from the carcass of the squid, out came Bogey, the predator. This predator shows off his diving and swimming skills as he swiftly and efficiently takes down the team. But this one definitely has an ulterior motive. The motive becomes evident when the search team comes across the rare life forms. The life forms, called tardigrade, although at first seem less hostile, soon prove to be otherwise. They are hostile enough to attack crew, and as they clamber off to save themselves, they feast their eyes on the fight between this tentacled monster and the predator. The predator at first seems to be victorious with his combat skills, but the fight clearly took a lot out of him because this time around, the special divers crew were able to shoot him and injure him enough that the predator ended up seemingly dying in an underwater cave. While the predator dies at the end of it, it's very interesting to see this predator face off against this tentacled monster and squid. In both cases, especially for the squids, we see him use his wrist blades more often, which makes it clear that even underwater, a Yaocha would rather get up close and personal before killing you off. Also, the fact that the predator's invisibility trick doesn't work underwater could be a reason why he gets attacked by the tentacle monster in the first place. Predator's take on the mighty bears. Bears are cute when you look at them in cartoons or even in real life, but from a safe distance. The moment you close that distance, you understand the horrors that seemingly cute-looking animals can bestow on you. How many animals do you know that come with a nursery rhyme-esque guide to saving yourself when you cross them? While we humans may know the whole "if it's black, shout back, if it's brown, lay down, if it's white, good night" rhyme for bear safety, the Yaocha do not. We see the Yaocha go toe-to-toe against a grizzly bear in the movie Prey. In this movie, the high-tension scene starts with our young protagonist, Naru, being attacked by a bear. To protect herself, she gets under a heap of logs, which just keeps her out of reach from the bear. While she's getting screamed at by the bear, something seemingly enters the water and distracts the bear. At first, Naru doesn't see anything, but soon, she sees that the bear is fighting off an invisible assailant. The assailant is big and keeps going in and out of vision, almost translucent. The assailant, as you've guessed it, is the predator. The predator and the bear exchange several blows, and as we follow Naru's perspective, the bear is quite strong. The grizzly pushes the creature down, and thinking the battle is over, the grizzly turns away to take its exit. But not so soon, because the predator rises again. This time, the predator gains the upper hand and slits the underside of the bear's belly with its weapon, claiming the victory crown for himself. Naru witnesses the whole fight, and as the dripping blood makes the alien more visible, Naru runs away from it like a responsible adult, living another day to tell the tale. But that's not the only fight we see between the Yaocha and the bears. In Predator Primal comic books, we follow the adventure of this lone Yaocha, who is stranded in the Denali National Park, deep in the Alaskan wilderness. At first, the Yaochas target the weakest bear in the group, the cub. Once he killed it, he thought he'd gotten himself a victory, but the only thing he got was being put on the hit list of the mama bears. Mama bears are extremely protective of their cubs, and when she saw her child die, the mama bear swore revenge. We see the bear smartly trail the alien and attack with an element of surprise. Not only that, mama bear neutralized the shoulder cannon first, making the Yaocha's job so much harder. The hand-to-hand combat went on for a while, and the mama bear came out victorious as she pushed the Yaocha into a waterfall. But the Yaocha was not going to back down, so he came back for round 2. But he truly underestimated the rage a mother bear can have, because this time as well, he lost. Previously, during the last fight, a fire was set off thanks to the Yaocha's shoulder cannon. The forest fire was spreading, and this time, when the Yaocha returned to attack the mama bear, he decided to use fire against her, when the spear he used didn't work. But the mama bear was not going to take any of this entitlement. She fought back, and she fought hard. She swiftly knocked the Yaocha off his feet, mauled his head, and threw him away like a discarded chew toy. Once she was sure he would not be getting up anytime soon, she evacuated the premises with her baby. The Yaocha finally gained consciousness and went back to his ship. He noted down in his log that the bear was a hero and was worth dying for because, as we know, the Yaocha honor their opponents a lot. With that honor in mind, the Yaocha killed himself by blowing up his ship. Although the story ended on a bittersweet note, I think the log of this Yaocha left a good message for the other Yaocha, not to mess around with a mama bear and her cubs in general. Predators in a battle royale against lions. Lions are the kings of the jungle, so understandably, when anything trespasses through one's kingdom, we expect a good king to check that out. That has led us to 2 of the most majestic fights between lions and predators. In the Predator Big Game, we follow a crazed predator who is going about his destructive way in New Mexico. The main protagonist of the comic, Enoch Nakai, has dealt with a predator before, and it's been a haunting experience, even into his adulthood. But the presence of this new predator, who is completely unhinged, shakes things up a little. Predators are known for killing for honor and not for sport, but this predator is out for blood and is killing wildlife and humans for the sake of it. When Enoch is able to track the predator down, he's in the middle of the desert, warming itself by the fire. The predator seemed to be distracted when it alerted of the presence of something. Nakai, who was hiding behind a boulder, accidentally knocked over a rock, and the sound made the predator alert. While Nakai prayed not to be found, a distraction came in the form of a lion. The lion jumps on the predator immediately, and with the element of surprise, the lion manages to scar the predator on the arm, shoulder, and face. Although it is implied that the lion is shot through the chest by the shoulder cannon in the last panel of their fight, we can rest easy knowing that this cat fought well. From the last comic book series where the predator faced off against a lion, we can come to the conclusion that the furry beast can be a worthy opponent for our predator. With this in mind, you could find yourself wondering, Would a predator ever travel to Earth just for a lion? The answer to that is yes. In Predator, No Beast So Fierce, we follow the story of Miss Trask. She is the wife of Captain Trask, and she's not taking the death of her husband well. While most people would grieve, she is out for revenge. You see, Captain Trask lost his life in a battle with a lion. Mrs. Trask is not willing to let that animal roam free, so she got herself a whole posse of bounty hunters who will work to get that furry beast dead. The plan was working great until the predator showed up. At first, when the predator showed up and subdued a few people, the rest of the team decided to deploy a net to capture it. Instead, the net captured the lion they had been looking for the entire time. When victory comes garnished on a plate, it would be a mistake not to take it. So they were planning on killing the lion when the predator decided to remind him of its presence again. The predator attacks the posse and gets rid of all of them in a blink of an eye, and then it sets its eyes on the prize it came down here for. It's the lion. On freeing the lion after getting rid of the hunters, the lion thanks the predator by giving it the fight it had been seeking. The comic ends on an open-ended note with no victor of the fight being crowned. Predator vs. Nature's Nightmare, a battle against the giant centipede. Creepy crawlies give most of us the heebie-jeebies. Honestly, if you are someone who can sit still during that scene from King Kong, then you have all of my respect. Really, just take it. Now, when we watched the scene, it was quite unsettling to deal with insects that are as big as you, if not bigger, but it was just a movie and it can't happen, right? Right? Well, if you've seen Prometheus the movie and read the comics, you would know that the black goo that the engineers had was pretty strong enough to mutate and change the shape and size of animals. So when the black goo is in the equation on a particular planet, we can definitely see that change. Keeping in mind when we see a predator wrestle a giant centipede, it really doesn't seem that out of place. In the Predator Fire and Stone, we get to meet a predator nicknamed Ahab. Like Ahab from Moby Dick, the one who he's named after, this predator had a lifelong dream. He wanted to be an engineer. So, when he was on LV-223 and finally got his chance to fight against an engineer, he gave it his all. Once he had added an engineer spine to his collection, our boy Ahab didn't want to leave the planet just yet. He decided to go about and hunt some more. In one of those hunting sprees, we see Ahab wrestle with a centipede that's definitely bigger than him. And as we know, predators are usually 7 feet tall, so that centipede was huge. Luckily for Ahab, it was an easy job because he killed it off with just a spear, simply showing off his dexterity and adaptability when it comes to different grades of prey. I mean, it's a weird flex, but go off, man. Bulls in the Predator's Path. If you've been an avid reader of fiction that retells the actual accounts of hunters, there's something that you would notice. The hunters were often more scared of the herbivores than the carnivores. That's because gazelles, antelopes, and bisons are extremely scary. These animals usually travel in a herd, and they're very unpredictable. With that in mind, when we see Maya Bergstrom go out of her way to warn the Yaocha that she's been tailing for quite a while, even though it would compromise her position, we understand. She saw the predator approaching a herd of bisons in the Yellowstone National Park, and understandably, she didn't want the predator to get hurt. But it was too late. Right before her eyes, Maya sees one of the bisons lock eyes with the predator and charge forward. Maya is sure that the bison would have had the upper hand on the alien, but what she was not expecting was for the predator to simply hurl the bison into the air. The Yaocha skillfully dodged the attack of the bison and placed the bison back on its feet, almost trying to make the animal realize that it meant no harm. At first, Maya is sure that the bison will charge at the predator again, but when the predator places its hand on top of the bison's head, Maya sees how the animal calms down. Predator vs. Serpent, a deadly showdown with the Anaconda. Sometimes, movies simply give you a new fear that you didn't know you had. I mean, I was perfectly fine not knowing I could be eaten alive by a giant snake, but the Anaconda movie, starring Jennifer Lopez, really did a number on me. Sure, I was happy to know that giant snakes that seemingly go for miles and miles are just one of those computer-generated things, but that happiness was not for long because then I found out about the actual anacondas. An anaconda can easily make a meal out of me, and while that scares me, I can rest easy knowing I will never come across one in a lifetime. But when it comes to predators, I don't think they have that much of a choice. As an alien species who only comes to Earth either to do their sacred hunts or to kill rogue Yaocha, it's no surprise that sometimes predators end up meeting the anaconda. We see the Predator come across an anaconda in the Predator South China Sea comic series and in the movie Prey, released in 2022. In the comic book series, the anaconda wraps itself around the Yaocha, preparing to make the alien its meal, while in the movie, the anaconda caught a mouse but got distracted by the rustling in the grass. However, in both cases, right before the snake could attack, the Predator killed it with its wrist blades. Although there is some controversy on how the Yaocha sees the snake, as they are cold-blooded creatures, and the Yaocha base their visions on heat signatures, we can assume that when you are being attacked by a long snake or being wrapped by one, even without the heat signature, you would know there is danger and murder the snake in self-defense, the way the Yaocha does in both cases. Marvelous verdict. While we may be at the top of the food chain with our intelligence, by now we can all agree that some blind animalistic rage can be quite a good weapon to use against the predators. Who would have thought that one of the strongest extraterrestrial threats we've faced would end up losing to a grizzly bear? Perhaps the key to winning battles against predators is incorporating bears. Perhaps we would see it incorporated in future films because, in my opinion, that would be quite a premise for a movie. What do you all think? Well, thanks again, everybody, and if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone!